Okay, good afternoon and welcome for being here. I'm Ernie Medina, Chief Engineer with the Port of San Diego. I'd like to welcome you all to the groundbreaking ceremony for the North Harbor Drive Realignment Project. Let's go, a round of applause. We'll kick off today with the introduction of today's speakers, and you'll hear more about the project and what it means to each of them in a few minutes. From the City of San Diego, please welcome Mayor Kevin Faulconer. From the Port of San Diego, let's go. From the Port of San Diego, please welcome Board Chairman Bob Nelson. From the City of San Diego, please welcome Councilmember Lorie Zapf. And saying a few words on behalf of Councilmember Ed Harris, who could not be here today, please welcome Council Representative Steve Hadley. From Bartell Hotels, please welcome President and CEO Richard Bartell. In our audience, we have some very special guests that I'd also like to recognize. Please welcome Jason Wise from the Office of Assembly Speaker Tony Atkins. Now, thank you all for attending. We'll go ahead and kick off our program. So please help me welcome our Honorable Mayor, Kevin Faulconer.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you, Ernie. And I want to thank everybody who's here today. I want to thank particularly our Chairman, Bob Nelson, and my colleague, Lorie Zapf, for joining us today. This is a long time coming, and I can say that with some authority as someone who was fortunate enough to be the city council member that represented this area for quite some time. It was a long time coming, but it was a team effort, and that's what we're here to celebrate as we move forward on a project it's going to be very, very important to our port tenants, and to San Diegans and to everybody that uses this area out by the harbor. This is going to be a dramatic public improvement that is going to serve our city very, very well. And so I wanted to thank each and every one of you for being here today. And as I look out in the audience, and I see a lot of familiar faces in all of the meetings that we had. And I see all of my Point Loma community neighbors and residents who were there every step of the way. Yes, it took a while to get here, but at the same time, it's a much better project because of all the great input with everybody working together. And this community knows how to get results. And I think that's why, to me, what makes this moment so very, very special after these years. It really is going to benefit, as I said, the Point Loma community, the port, our harbor. We're going to be adding parking spaces. We're going to be improving bike facilities. And probably also, as important, we're going to be dramatically enhancing the beauty of this very important transit corridor. And as I said before, as somebody who's been very involved in this, I care deeply about this project's success, and so it is great to be here today to celebrate all of the hard work and the accomplishments. Of particular note, and as you look at the designs and the drawings, is something that was very important to Point Loma, was to make sure that we continue to have that free right-hand turn street on Scott Street here. That's going to be there. That's very important for traffic flow. May sound a little bit in the weeds, but it wasn't, as all of the work that we had to do on that to make sure that that traffic continues on Scott Street, and that was a great result. And with the removal of parallel parking spots on the frontage road, that's going to be hugely important to make this a safe corridor for cyclists. And as you can see, there's a fair amount of traffic here, and this is a highly traveled route for cyclists. And as we're trying to do more and more to encourage people to get out of their cars, to get on their bikes, we have to make sure that we do that in a safe manner. This is going to help dramatically with that. So I want to thank everybody for the Port of San Diego, for all of their hard work, a lot of our city crew and city staff that is here today. I know our former commissioner, Steve Cushman, who could not be here today, but spent a lot of time working on this project, and I wanted to particularly thank him. But most importantly, I wanted to thank the Peninsula community, our Peninsula Community Planning Board, our Point Loma Association. I want to thank the port tenants, everybody who worked together to get us to where we are today. This is going to be a dramatic, huge improvement for this community. And I think no matter what neighborhood you live, as we've said before, the bayfront and the waterfront belongs to all San Diegans. And to come down and to enjoy this, I think speaks volumes about the continued progress that we are making, all of us together, on infrastructure and providing a better quality of life for all of our San Diego neighborhoods. Congratulations. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
That's okay, I can introduce myself. Thank you, Mayor. And as the council member who is fortunate enough to be the new council member for this district, taking over next Wednesday, I am thrilled to be here. It's always great to be, involved in a project that took, 10 years, and you're here during the glory days when the groundbreaking takes place, right? I love it. I actually love this project. I've been briefed on it, and anybody who comes off a harbor and turns onto here and, is in that, oh my gosh, where am I going? What do I do? And this is going to be a huge, dramatic improvement. So. The long-term commitment to this project has, seriously paid off. I also want to thank the port staff. They've been working on this for many, many years, and it's great to be here and see the fruits of their efforts after doing so much community outreach. To be here today, it's terrific. As the mayor mentioned, this is going to be improvements for cyclists, but there's also going to be improvements for tourists, because the tourists who stay in the hotels here are, putting their lives on the line as they're trying to cross this busy street. And so we're going to have better ADA access, better safe access for bikes, tourists, all pedestrians. And this is going to be also a huge improvement for the businesses across the street. There'll be more parking as well. So the local retailers are thrilled about this, and there's going to be a little bit of construction for the next few months, and I just ask that the community bear with it, because it's going to be worth it in the end. So you can call my office, and I'll try and help you out, but all I can say is please bear with it. It's a fantastic project, and it's all going to be worth it. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our port chairman, Bob Nelson, to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Zapf, and thank you for your continued service on behalf of the people of San Diego. It's really an honor for me to be here today for this effort, especially with Mayor Faulconer, because this has seemingly been his life's work. For 7 years as a city council member, he worked on this before he became mayor. When I was getting ready to take office, he told me there were two things that he really would like me to focus on very much. One is the North Embarcadero Visionary Plan and moving that forward. And as you know, we have been able to open that up. And the other one was the North Harbor Drive alignment, because it's so important for the residents of the area. And we actually have in this one little area here kind of a microcosm of many important aspects of the port. We've got one of our finest award-winning marinas and retail complexes across the street. We have one of our great hotels to serve the community and visitors right next door. And we, of course, have the sports fishing landings, which are the heart and home of the largest sports fishing fleet in the United States. I'd also like to thank Councilmember Ed Harris, who I met with yesterday morning, and as was mentioned, Steve will talk on his behalf today. He can't be here, but this has been something he's kept his eye on during his time serving us. As has been mentioned before, this was a key project also for Steve Cushman. Served as a representative from San Diego for 12 years on the port, and we wouldn't be here today had it not been for Steve's effort working with the various stakeholders involved. This project started back in about 2002, 12 years ago, as part of the redevelopment plans for America's Cup Harbor and the Shelter Island Planning District. And over those years, the port has worked closely with community stakeholders and partners to get us here today. The Peninsula Community Planning Board, the Point Loma Association, our port tenants, the City of San Diego, and the California Coastal Commission staff all had an important role in bringing this project together. So it's been a great collaboration. By next fall, North Harbor Drive will be transformed into a much safer area for pedestrians, motorists, and as the mayor has pointed out, cyclists as well. We'll add 130 much-needed parking spaces to an area that is heavily used by our sports fishing community, and in fact, we hope the improvements will be completed by June of 2015 for the opening of sports fishing season next year. In addition, we'll be making repairs to this parking lot that we're standing in today that will improve accessibility and restore the pavement. And finally, the roadway itself on this section of Harbor Drive will be dramatically configured for improved safety and public access. The roadway will be complete with new walkways, landscaping, parking improvements, LED street lighting, crosswalks, and ramps to meet current ADA standards. And again, we're going to maintain the Class 2 bike lanes to be consistent with the city's bicycle master plan. A brand new mid-block signalized crossing will be installed just behind us, and that change is going to make it a lot easier, as has been mentioned by Councilmember Zapf, for people to get from the parking areas to local businesses and down to our waterfront. So in closing, I want to thank the Point Loma community, especially for their patience, our port tenants in the area, and again, the City of San Diego for their support during this project. I particularly want to point out and thank our staff from engineering and construction, environmental and land use management, and real estate for all the staff work that's gone into this. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Council Representative Steve Hadley to say a few words on behalf of Councilmember Ed Harris.
The council member lives in Point Loma, so he has a very personal appreciation, interest in the beautification, the aesthetic upgrade, the safety for the pedestrians and the cyclists, the mobility improvement here in the area. So he was very proud to get to be a part of the final discussions with the port about this project and the final outreach to the community. Mayor Faulconer, he sends his appreciation today for all of the heavy lifting and pushing that you did to get this done. And to Mr. Nelson and the Port District and Mr. Cushman, thank you as well for working on this, not only on behalf of the port, but for the community and all who use this thoroughfare. Thank you, Councilmember Zapf, for picking up all the calls in the coming months. What timing you get to as a council office, put the shovel in the ground and walk away before all of the dust and all of the traffic delays and everything else takes place. But he sends his appreciation to the community as well this morning for your interest, for your very civil approach and your productive, constructive help through this project to the very end and helping push it, helping give ideas, and your faithfulness in this is now paying off. Thank you very much. I introduce Mr. Richard Bartell, who has as much interest in this project as anyone, I think.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, we have been tenants of the port for 30 years, and we own the Holiday Inn next door. And this is such a great day for port tenants and for people who live and work here. You know, we're calling this project the realignment of North Harbor Drive, but it's more than the realignment of a road. It's the transformation of an area. It's the transformation of America's Cup Harbor and the entrance to Point Loma. You know, my office is up there, and I've been looking down on this road for 30 years, and this used to be a blighted area. There were vacant industrial buildings right across the street. And in front of those buildings, there were fences that blocked any view of the water. There was no view corridor. There was no public access. I mean, you really wouldn't even know the water was out there. And all that changed when the port adopted its master plan. Suddenly, those vacant industrial buildings were gone. The fences were gone, and the community started to come back to life. The first new development, redevelopment, was Sun Harbor Marina with Pizza Nova. Then came Jimmy's and Point Loma Marine. You have a pedestrian walkway where you could walk around the waterfront now. Public access has been restored. View corridors have been restored. And last but not least, you have a beautiful entrance with the expansion of our Holiday Inn right at the entrance. But the cornerstone of the Port Master Plan has always been the realignment of the road. That is the centerpiece, because with the realignment, you get 130 parking spaces so the public could come and enjoy the waterfront. You get a crosswalk, never had one before, a crosswalk so that people can safely walk across the street. You have enhanced landscaping. You have bike paths. So this will be an area for both locals and visitors that can be enjoyed forever. So I want to thank first Mayor Faulconer. This would have never happened without his perseverance, unswerving support over the years when he was with City Council. Chairman Nelson also was a strong supporter, and I want to thank him for ushering this project, across the finish line. Who I don't see here and who deserves a lot of credit is Executive Vice President Randa Coniglio, who had the skill and persistence to talk with a diverse group of tenants and local constituencies and focus everybody on a common purpose. Without these three people, this project would have never happened. So I want to thank everybody for the great job, and this is going to be a great area that we're all going to be able to enjoy. Thank you.
Okay, we are now ready for the next part of this event, the moving of the dirt. So let's go ahead and move on over and move some dirt.
Count us down, Sheila.
3, 2, 1.
Very good.
Thank you.